How do you want happiness in a world full of lies? How do you want truth in a world full of excuses? I don't see it. But I want to be pretty chill on this one. Is racism an excuse? Or racism is an excuse? Why am I saying that? First things first, we got to mow the grass, okay? I'm not calling all these other people snakes, but they're venomous because they're not the founders of this place and they have nothing to do with it. So that means Asian racism, not towards others, but Asians being racist towards others. Hispanic racism, not being racist towards Hispanics, I'm saying Hispanics being racist towards others, Hindus, etc. You guys are really disingenuous and wrong for coming to these lands after everything had been, and then participating in this land's ignorance, because all lands and all nations have their negative, they have their ignorance. But for you guys to be strangers and come here and do that makes you low. So we're going to expel you from this conversation because there's a lot of foul things I can say about you guys, but no. Let's talk about the two main ones, the founders of this place. Racism is an excuse because where do you want to go with this? Blacks are inferior because they're black? No. You literally destroyed 200 of their towns. I thought it was only 50. No, actually it was 200. You stole a gang of their patents. You've tainted their image. You gave them this false narrative of their existence. So, of course, they're stuck in a loop. To all the successful ones, it seems mainly only who's the biggest jigaboo. It seems as long as they can entertain you, then they can have these vast riches. But if it's just off the merit and inventions and stuff, it doesn't seem like you'll give it to them. Or you'll steal patents, or you'll claim patents, or they'll just mysteriously die. Weird. So they have a reason for why they're doing what they're doing. White people. Sorry, pale-faced people. Caucasians. The easiest way I can say it to you guys is I feel that majority of you know that you're wrong. But you can't go right because you would have to expose your whole group. And it's like, who want to be stuck out there like that? Plus, it's not all your fault. Everybody's not involved. Everybody didn't have slave master ties. But that's how all of you talk. It seems like only Republicans give out the argument of, I didn't enslave you. I don't got nothing. And even if we want to say Democrats are like that too, they're not the commercial ones. The TV ones are always bringing up injustice and slavery, but they never talk about giving any money. That's odd. To me, racism is an excuse. Black Americans know goddamn well that shooting each other up and selling each other drugs and hanging out in the streets all day and just doing stupid stuff is not benefiting them. They also know whining about a past that none of them have experienced, and instead of worrying about tomorrow, they keep worrying about yesterday, and that's why their plan is not working to build the future, because you're not aiming for the future, you're aiming for yesterday. So you can't change the past. The past will never change. But you're not looking for the future, which you should be looking at all these STDs and all this crime and all this violent driven energy. You should be looking at that instead of worrying about things that will never change. As far as the Caucasian Americans, you guys are going to have to like understand that some of us here, not all of us, but some of us here see that you're using racism as an excuse to deny everything that you're doing. All the kid touching, all the school shooting, all the homosexuality, all the weird stuff that you keep trying to drill down people's heads. And you're not alone. The same thing with the blacks and the crime. They keep trying to drill it down people's heads. You ain't sold no crack. You ain't tough like me. You ain't shot no niggas. You ain't tough like me. You ain't got no bodies. You see, they both are doing the same negative spell. Both of them are. Woven behind this made up thing called racism, which is, it's made up. It's not real. Like I just said, blacks in the ghettos know, or they should, that shooting each other up is not beneficial. They should know that. Okay, white America, or pale-face America, however you want to call it, knows that lying about all of the things these black Americans did, tainting their history, is going to taint them. So, you know, I always give the Republicans a baby pass. They only get a baby one because they're not supposed to reveal your truth to you. You're supposed to reveal it because it's yours to reveal. It's not up to the Republicans to tell you that you made the subway system, that you made chips and ice cream, that you basically was the greatest inventor of the golden era of America out of all the minorities. You're the greatest one. Still to this day, you hit hard with, your athleticism. You stay winning these games. You stay doing your part. You're just not doing it complete. And I can understand why. You got all these boulets in your head. Okay. Same thing goes with the Caucasian Americans not honoring up to the truth. Keeping this lie going, because remember, it keeps them in power. If they tell the truth that there was only so many slaves that came up here, and these boats didn't have to re-up so many times like South America, and there was white slaves, in the tobacco fields, there were castrated white men. Like, if they're not going to tell this truth, if they're not going to say that, the American Negro made the modern bed, they made the crab magic, they made the home security system. If they're not going to tell it, there can only be one reason, and that's because racism is an excuse. Racism is the excuse for not telling the truth, for living in a lie. Black people know common sense. They should. They've been on earth long enough. They know shooting each other down is not raising them up. They know only being interested in entertainment is not going to qualify them economically. Because just because I give a fool millions of dollars doesn't mean they're going to sustain it, maintain it. It doesn't mean they're going to keep it. That's why that's part of the game. The part of the game is I will give you millions upon billions of dollars. Everybody's going to look at you like one of the finest people on earth, but you are not allowed to build. You are not allowed to help. That's why Jay-Z is so damn paid, but he can't do anything with it. Okay, same thing with all the white liberals telling black people their story. They were slaves, you've been, you're a victim, but they won't pay them the money that they owe you. Oh, they don't owe you for slavery. Of course not. Think about it, guys. I've been talking to you guys about this for like the last few years. Everybody knows that blacks were freed through the war, through the Civil War. That's how they got their Emancipation Proclamation. That's how they got it. So nobody owes you for no slavery. They be like, oh, what about the 40 acres and a mule? That's constituting your soldiership in the war, my friend. That has nothing to do with being a slave. So now that you know that, which you should have known that, but now that you know that, do you understand why they killed Abraham Lincoln? Do you get it now? Or is he still your mortal enemy for getting you out of it? Because he said, oh, he doesn't care if the slaves are free or not. I just want to save the Union. Okay. Do you give a fuck if white people live or die as long as you get your money? I thought so. So I'm saying it says the problem is the two dirt balls in the game. It's the bad Freemasons, the true Klan members, the true racists, and their slaves. Always remember, the Boule is basically the gatekeepers of the system. They're basically like the henchmen of it. Why? Because a good slave was loyal to their master. See, y'all think Uncle Ruckus is just like a joke. No. Uncle Ruckus is real. The only difference is you guys keep looking for a black person acting like a white person. But no. Paleface made the minstrel show. So acting a buffoon is the doppelganger of what the real American Negroes ought to act like. Like, this is a fake version of you. So when you think of Al Sharptons and all your rappers and all this, the hoes and the gangsters, and everybody supports these people, always talking about free this person, free. Why do you think that is? That's who those people are. Those people are Al Johnson or whatever. Mammy, but that's who they are. Al Sharpton, all of them, that's who they are. Roland Arnold or Martin, that's who they are. Okay, same thing goes for Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden and all those people on the left. The Raskins, those are all racist. All of them are. All the way down to Jasmine Crockett. And people are like, how could you say that? Because she went to a prestige school. She went to a prestige school out in the country. She's not from the ghettos of the country. No, countryside. Nice stuff. Nice living. Know how to speak well and everything. But she would give you this image. Trump's a piece of shit and bullshit. And why would they do that to you? I just told you about blackface. I just told you about the minstrel show. The demon rats are the Klan. Those are the conspirators of that type of energy, making you a fool. So when you see these people, somebody is stopping the crime in the streets that you're majority in. They're saying it's been 11 days. There hasn't been one single murder. These are you that are being murdered. This is you. It's not everybody else. That's the scary thing about my people. They don't realize it. It's you. You're the one being killed every night. So for 11 days straight, there's no bloodshed. Who's telling you to take back your streets? And you don't want the National Guard here. But you've been 11 days straight cold turkey on murders of your own people. Sometimes you have to really step back and ask yourself a question. Why do I keep wanting to be cool with everybody who's portraying that they're cool, but they keep breaking the rules? They're not bending the rules. The rules can be bent a little bit, but they're not to be broken. So when a person is constantly telling you to rebel, break, go against, crash, destroy, but they have nothing to give you in return, because only a fool is going to just give you something. You don't just give a child something. You make them earn it, like an allowance. You don't just give somebody money. No, you make them work for it. It's called a paycheck. It's not a hustle. It's not a slavery. Slaveries don't make money. It's the form of bartering. That's how it works. Well, we have been giving our interests and our power to people that barter racism and victimhood, not empowerment. That's why they don't mind all these athletes and entertainers, because they're not teaching you economic prowess. They're not showing you how to keep your money flowing and building. They're not. These are longevity contracts. Y'all don't even think like that. Y'all maybe make 60, 80, maybe 150K a year, whatever the numbers is. Bro, they're giving them 50 million, 10 million. That's a long ride. So they can't even make different decisions. There's only a few Michael Jordans. Somebody dabble with different sports. And that's after the shoe deal. He's already got the shoes. I bet he could leave and come back. And that's different. But usually people are tied in with those type of numbers. Those are big numbers. So if in this tie-in, I'm telling you can't help your people, okay, that's 10, 15-year contracts, 5-year contracts, 7-year contracts. Bro, there's 24 hours in a day, but if I take 365 days from you 7 times, that's a lot of aging. That's a lot of things being passed in the negative. So, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. It's like 92. Look at it now. Now the females can't even argue about the men calling them a slut or anything because they're talking about squirting on men in their songs. They're talking about robbing men in their songs. They talking about killing too. So now it's not the kettle calling, the pot black or anything like that. Now it's, do you see the spell? See, you're supposed to fight against your own destruction, but you ran head towards it. But this is not a war where you're fighting for your life. No, this is a mental war. This is a spiritual thing where they're corrupting you. I give a man that sells that. Who's promoting it? But like the woman said, we are. How? Because who's buying it? Who's the ones, shooting in the club, listening to the theme song? It's not a bunch of white people. Who's the one turning these spells into a lifestyle? When most of you should know by now, majority of rappers don't even live their rhymes. You got this sicko on the mic just casting all types of poison that they don't even live. They don't even do that. But the music is not controlling people. It's not a form of spellcasting, just like the holy books, just like the media. Are you serious? You can't be that naive. If you think people were breaking out of religions and they didn't throw you the TV, if you think people were breaking out the TV and they threw you the internet, if you see people breaking out the internet and they threw you more media, if you don't get it, then I feel sorry for you. But I honestly feel, and yeah, I'm leaning more toward my folks, and you can say it's a little biased, but it's like, to be honest, I really don't have much to say about Paleface because it's like, there's only one thing that you're hiding, and you know what it is. You know you did not build this place all on your own. You know a lot of the great inventions you did not invent. Yeah, we know you bought the slaves from the African. We understand that, but we also understand that majority of us are not African anyway. There is no African shaking hands on a Masonic apron. There isn't. That's a checkmate within itself. That's the weirdest stuff on earth. You have the secret society that you don't even have to go to a college or fraternity to be in, and it's one of the oldest in this place. They would have an apron with an Indian, shaking hands with Paleface. But you can see from the teepees in the background, they're on American soil. We're not in England. We're right here. But no African. I say that to say this. I really don't have much to say about Mr. Charlie. You're Mr. 77.1. You're the one with your women out there, my body, my choice, murdering your baby, promoting it to everybody else. You the one who got the school shooters. Mainly. I don't really care about, I ain't gonna say I don't care, but I don't really care about the shootings in the ghettos because y'all don't televise those anyway. School shootings that happen in black schools, y'all don't put that on TV. I'm surprised you don't, but you don't. I don't never see that. Another Chicago school got shot up. Oh, another Detroit school got shot up. Oh, another California school got. I don't never see those. It's always some white kid. And I'll give you guys credit on this. They're always the off ones, like the trannies. Like they showed a whole list. The last like 8 or 7 school shootings were all trannies. They were all transgenders. And when you shooting up Christian schools or any type of religious school, that says a lot about your energy. You know, you can detest religions all you want, but that doesn't give you the right to take innocent lives, because this person killed 2 kids. What the kids do? To be honest, are they the ones going from town to town spreading this word? Are they the ones on TV? Like, are you serious? That's when you know you got bigger problems. Racism is an excuse. It's an excuse for these 2 colors on the chessboard to keep chaoticness like going all through this country, all through this nation. The main problem is through the diversity of the racism. When it's all one nation, they're all one nationality. I've been said that before too. Who would put every nation on the earth in one place and keep them separated? Has to be a bigger plan going on. There has to be, because that's genius in a very sick way, but that's genius. Why would you do that? Why would you have every piece on the board of life in the earth and keep them all separated? But all chasing the same person who is denying the truth through racism. Once they put all that stuff in the history books, it's going to be hard to beat it up with stuff outside their programming. Everybody's following suit to the same stuff, not second guessing it, not questioning it, nothing. Racism is an excuse. It's an excuse to not do right. I'm not saying racism is not real. I'm not saying that the race of life is not real. What I'm trying to say is it's an excuse. Everybody knows what right and wrong is. And there's no misinterpretation, because you just follow the golden rule. Christ Ben told you this energy. You do unto others as you want them to do unto you. You don't want nobody punching you. You don't want nobody taking something from you. You don't want nobody sexually assaulting you. You don't want bad things to happen to you. But you guys all gamble on the dice board of life and do wrong things to people. But then you want people to feel sympathy for you when bad things happen to you. See? It's bigger than colors. It always will be bigger than colors, because moral character and having a moral compass is higher than any skin tone title that you want to claim this one time in this one existence. All of you will fall to the dirt, regardless of what shade you came in as. So that doesn't have anything to do with it. What does is class. And we're not talking about rich and poor. No, we're talking about structure. You know what I'm saying? Morally and unmorally. Just and unjust. Truth and untruth. So with that being said, it's time to speak truth. White America needs to understand that there's 200 towns that you have burnt down, re-infrastructured, weaseled out. Like, it's all in history. It's all there. It's just not taught in the public school program. Why would they do that? Why would they program you to have love and mercy for, the lower status on the board? Why would they do that? That's something you have to find out on your own, just by research. So they know they owe a lot. It just doesn't have anything to do with slavery. That's the Democrat spell trap. That's what they did. They had you talking about a time that you shouldn't even be worried about, because you already fought your way out of slavery. You're owed 40 acres and a mule as a free person. See? And then they snuffed off the dude that was going to give it to you. He gets killed not in his bed, bro. He's out enjoying the show, bro. Okay. Move on past that. All these inventors, all this stuff you did. Okay, 200 towns, beautiful, peaceful. You're not integrated yet. You mind your own business. Red Summer. Run through all your stuff, burn all your stuff down. You're not old for that? Come on, man. Be honest with yourself. Why doesn't nobody pay homage? Like, why are blacks acting wild on the subway in New York, period, when you invented it? You think if they had that, like, in the back of their mind all the time, you think they wouldn't be looking at things a little different? You think if, Caucasians realized that at the end of the day, we were lied to. You know what I'm saying? If they could just get it in their head to understand we were programmed too. This is a programming. It's not personal to nobody, because remember, racism is an excuse. It's an excuse not to work together. You're the same nationality. It's not about race. That's a made-up thing. It's an excuse. Even if we want to talk about the race of life, why would the two Americans be wrong with each other when they're both on the same dollar? They're both in the same Federal Reserve. They both have the same soldiers that are protecting the land that they both live on. Sometimes you gotta step away from the board. You gotta look at it. Like, you have to really look at it. It's still all on one chessboard, regardless of what piece moves first, what piece moves last. The only ones that get swiped off the board are the ones that get knocked off the board. But other than that, the game is still being played on the board. So look at the board as the nation. Why does the game have to be strategy of destroying each other? Why can't it be, a strategy of survival? But the game could be played by itself. So you don't have to play it as opposition, because like I said, the board is the same nation. That's the thing. It'd be different if you're fighting for capital on a land that somebody's going to take it over. No. That's not what you're doing. Because nothing is stopping Americans from getting any position here. Fake ass Obama became president. Colin Powell was the general of defense. He ran the whole military. Clarence Thomas, Supreme Court judge. So many regular judges, businessmen. Before I go, I just want to say this. If I keep it the way that it's been going, and I separate, and I talk about how bad this side is, and how bad this side is, or how good this side is, or how good this side is, it's never going to come together. So in this video, I wanted you to experience what it could be if it did come together. And if people stop making excuses about being separate when certain knowledge was withheld from both sides. Certain scholarships and books were withheld from the American blacks, and some history truths were withheld from the American whites. The way that the game has been working is not correct, and it's not accurate. It's not supposed to be one-sided. It's supposed to be in the middle. Just like this bird that people claim they're supposed to be trying to use. But that's for a whole nother story. A whole nother place and time. I'm out.